numerous examples that you don't see in a docudrama, that you don't ever hear about, of people, just leaving, and, it's like, okay.
And Map was in the docudrama. There was a whole component of it. I was never asked to be in an interview. It was just, quite honestly, quite violating for me to move through.
All together, and she saw how we moved through upsets. She kind of felt a little bit more relief and peace, just knowing that I'm in the right hands.
Yeah, and so that brings me to the next question that I want to touch on, which is another deep one that we really want to get to the core of, and that is the question of, is Jeff God, and what is Master Christ? And so these are topics touched on throughout the docudramas, and we all know here Jeff is not God, but let's share a little bit more about that and why that is, and yeah, go into more details there. So Ryan, did you have a piece on this?
Yeah. So, well, obviously Jeff is not God. Jeff never said that he was God. He's never taught that he was God. He believes in God, and he has a relationship with God. He loves God very much, and God is love, in the teachings of union. So that's the teachings, is that love leads your life. And yeah, there's never been a conversation other than that. And the second coming of Christ is all about, that consciousness of love, being expressed through humanity, as a whole, and us all, stepping into that. And Jeff and Shalia have led us, in that consciousness, right? They've stepped into it, and they showed us that it's real, and they're showing the world that it's real. And we're aligning with that truth, and we're living it for ourselves.
This is a realization, from my own personal life, that I came to what you just said, Ryan, a little bit prior to finding the teachings, was this awareness that, the Christ coming back, the second coming, it's a consciousness. It's not the physical being coming down to earth, which was a huge shift for me because I grew up Catholic believing that. And so this shift in my consciousness, however, brought me to, a lot of peace in my life and a lot of deeper understanding about, this is what Jesus was really talking about, right? This is what, this is what his teachings were really about, was becoming the Christ within you. And, other masters know this, like Yogananda has the book, The Second Coming of Christ Within You, and teaches this as well. And that's really what Jeff and Shalia teach, is that we all can become our Christ selves. And so, yeah, that feels good. And that's, what I came to as well on my spiritual awakening. And the next piece here really is, what is Master Christ? And that was kind of a buzzword throughout the docudramas. And yeah, let's touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, I really think that was, it was really taken out of context, to be honest. Like, I think this is something Jeff is personally exploring. In the particular Twin Flame Ascension School class that they riffed off of or pulled from, there was a long discussion there in regards to this topic, and Jeff and Shalia will always share with us as students what they're spiritually moving through and what they're exploring, which I personally really appreciate. And so, I think that their discussion in regards to the Christ consciousness being in all of us and us coming into the space of Christ consciousness within us is what they're discussing. He is in no way communicating he's Jesus Christ. Jesus Christ is a completely different person, which we all love, adore, and respect. And that's not what this communication was. And I think it's been highly misrepresented and construed to put this particular narrative in place.
Yeah, absolutely. And I agree with what you're saying, obviously, because I've come to the same conclusion for myself. And and I feel like it's, it's a buzzword because it freaks people out a bit. But really, there's not much to it other than they're showing us an example of what it's like to live a life where you feel your feelings and love yourself. And it's that simple. And, they've really taught us all that we all can become our own Christ selves. Like, that's why I'm doing this work, is to ascend, right? It's a twin flame and ascension journey for a reason, because we ascend, right, into Christ consciousness. And, spiritual leaders and masters have been teaching this for centuries and centuries and centuries. And so it's nothing new. It's just the next level and the next chapter of that journey. And so, I think that everyone can calm down a bit. And another topic that was talked about in the docudrama is just people feeling like uncomfortable about leaving. They felt like maybe they'd be threatened. And I think there was even, because I watched them as well, and there was like these people who kind of would say they felt like people were coming after them. There was this energy. And as we know, that's not the case. People have been coming and going since the beginning of Twin Flame Ascension School freely and as they please. And really, it's like an online community, so you can't really, there's nowhere to, like, you can go whenever you want by just logging off your computer, right? It's very simple, leaving a Facebook group. But that wasn't what was portrayed at all. And so, yeah, I'd love to hear what you all have to say about that and how, if you have anything to say towards the people who felt that way.
I think you can see, numerous examples that you don't see in a docudrama, that you don't ever hear about, of people, just leaving and, say, okay, that's what you decided to do. Like, this journey is not for you at this time, or maybe you don't feel like it resonates for you. It's not right for you. That's okay. We wish them well, and then we move on and continue on our journeys. And I think that's that wasn't part of the clips that you saw in the docudrama. You didn't see the clips of people leaving when they were in the live classes. And, Jeff and Shalia would say, we wish them well, we, would hope that they would be with us, but at the same time, we aren't attached to them and we let them go. And I think that's the experience that anyone who decides that this path is not for them would experience, is just, hey, we love you. We would love you to stay with us. But if you decide you want to move on, then that's a personal decision. And we don't want you to, we don't hold anything against those people that decide that that's not right for them at this time.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure in the first 5 free TFAS classes, someone leaves the class. And they go through that right at the beginning of the exact process of what happens when someone leaves, which is, we wish you well. Wish you would have stuck around for the ride all the way to, like, your union and stuff, but that's okay. Like, who cares? It's just a compassionate feeling because, yeah, we're all just here to build a life of love. And, we've made friends and made a beautiful life for ourselves, like all of us sitting here. And so, of course, we want that for everyone, but not everyone has to choose that. It's all okay. And it's not, nothing wrong with making a different choice, right?
Yeah, I was just going to share, we choose to, live these teachings. So if somebody, leaves, I might not talk to them, and not because, I got a problem with them. I actually usually just move on with my life, and it's not that I forget they existed, they're just existing in a different way, and they're choosing different things. So I move forward, they move forward, and that's how it's always been. There's never been anything other than that. It's very peaceful every time that somebody leaves for me. So that's their choice too, right?
Yeah, I think it's natural as you change and develop in life that you move into different friends. An example would be, you're in high school and you have your high school friends and they're great. And then, you move to college. One summer you go away to college and all of a sudden you're not hanging out with those high school friends anymore. You're hanging out with a bunch of college friends. And then after college you move, high school and college aren't cults. You just move from one space to another and live your life. It's kind of quite normal to continue to grow and transform and change and be around different people as you choose to do that. If you had somebody for example, I, recently retired from the military. I was around military people all the time for 20 years. I haven't been around a military person in a really long time. Doesn't mean that I was in a cult. I was in the military. You know what I mean? It's just I'm living a different life now. And that's something that's discussed at length when leaving the military, that this is a whole new life for you. These are new people you're going to be around. It's a very natural part of life to have a transition when you move from one thing to another. And I think like attracts like. So, we've been here a long time, for years. I think we came into the community in 2016. We've seen a lot of people leave and come back. And, you're free to invest in the teachings and into the community at any level that you see fit for yourself. And if you decide at whatever level you don't want to be in the community anymore, you're more than willing to leave. You can 100% do that. I think that where it gets kind of construed is, like if you do choose to leave, well, like the responsibilities or what you had going on in the community, of course, that's going to change because you're making a new choice, and that's completely okay. But that's part of the choice you're making, and that's just part of the thing. Like if you're in a business and you choose to leave the business,
Yeah, choices have consequences.
choices have consequences. It's pretty normal. And so I think it's just a normal part of life, and it's okay that that occurs here. I think it's very healthy. It's very basic. It's just been construed to look a particular way because it's a spiritual community.
Yeah, this is a very no drama type community. So when someone leaves, it's like there's compassion, there's love. We send them on their way, and that's it. It's like we're on to the next thing so quickly because we all move very fast when we're, creating our dream lives like we're all doing. There's no time to stop and
Hold on.
follow somebody after they left or like something like that. It's like, no, we're very busy people. We're like, oh, we got a lot going on. We're growing a business or like enjoying my life with my twin flame and remodeling our home and fun things. And so, yeah, that's really a huge misconstrued piece of what went down, I feel. The next thing that I want to touch on with everyone here today is any truth or any, thoughts around brainwashing at TFU. Like, is there brainwashing taking place? Like, are we all this brainwashed robots? What is happening here? And what is your perspective on that?
For me personally, my parents weren't exactly sure what was going on. So to bring kind of light to what we do here, my coach suggested that I bring my mom to a coaching call with us, just to really see what we do, like what do I really do in counseling. And I've always been very open with my mom, and she's always loved and supported me no matter what I do. So I willingly and openly just let her join a coaching call with me, and she watched Hannah guide me through things that were upsetting me, and she just she has her own relationship with God. So although she told me, like, although she doesn't exactly believe in the exact same things that I do, as long as I'm happy and she knows I'm following what, makes me happy, she will always support me. So after we kind of had that coaching call together and she saw what, how I moved through upsets, she kind of felt a little bit more relief and peace, just knowing that I'm in the right hands and I'm not being brainwashed. It's just really just how we move through upsets. It's unique and it's different. But we're really getting to the core of what's like making us upset. We're not putting a bandage over it. So, yeah.
Yeah, really beautiful. That really kind of brings me to the next piece here, which kind of circles back to the first question of are we a cult, right? And this has to do as well with that question. And so what I've learned throughout, my own research into cults and everything like I've shared is that it's not physically possible to have an online cult. It's not physically possible to brainwash someone online, because to have a cult or, brainwash someone, there has to be an element of fear involved. And I feel like this is a really good piece to touch on. And Chrissy may have some more to share on this about, how fear plays a role in cults and what, is TFU a place that is perpetrating fear on people?
Yeah, absolutely not. I think that, like you noted, there is research out there that communicates the efficacy of online cults, because there is a fear associated with a cult that you're being threatened or that you're being physically held in some way. And that simply is impossible online, because you can unplug, you can unclick, you can unfollow, you can close the laptop very quickly and move on with your life, and you'll go live a free life of whatever you'd like to do. So I don't necessarily think it's possible. Like, research is out there that proves that it's not possible. I think that if you're living in a state of fear because you're choosing to be in fear, everything's going to scare you. And I used to be like that. I used to live in a place of fear on a regular basis every single day. And this work is what supported me in moving out of that space. I used to be scared to go to a salad bar. I used to be scared to interact with somebody. I used to be scared to be in conflict with somebody. I used to feel fear all the time. And because of this work and because of moving through a lot of trauma and healing, I don't feel that way anymore. I feel completely different. I feel completely at peace. And that's something that I'll always communicate, is that this work only ever brings you into deeper peace in your life. And if you're in fear and it's something that you're just not willing to move through at this time, that's okay. It's okay to be moving through that. It's okay to not feel like this is a good fit for you anymore at any given time, and choose to move on and do something else. And we really hope that they find what they are seeking. But I think one thing is, like, when it comes down to brainwashing and this cult narrative, I'm somebody who's been a critical thinker my whole life. I think that my parents would tell you that I could never be controlled, even as a child. To feel like I could be controlled as an adult is just a little silly to me. I think that, I've always kind of beaten to my own drum, so to speak, and done my own thing, and have really critically reviewed and analyzed the things that I do on a regular basis. I still do that. I mean, you guys all know me. I'm very logical and very grounded and very, I really reflect on the decisions I make in my life. And I think that when you're in an organization and part of a community that people are a bit skeptical about, that's okay. It's okay to be skeptical. It's okay to ask your questions. But I invite everyone to be open-minded about it. And come try it on. Come check it out. There's hundreds and hundreds of testimonials from friends and family on twinflamesuniverse.com that can be reviewed. A lot of our stories are on there as well. And I think also, you have a handful of people saying one thing, and then you have thousands of people. I mean, there's almost 60,000 people in the open forum at this point. That's happening for a reason. That growth is happening for a reason. And so there's something real in this organization. That love is there. And I think that's what we want to share, today as we talk about that. That's what I see as we all talk today, is the love and peace that's there for everyone. It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, I had something to share about that too. I had a pretty cool experience. One of my family members had texted me, and she was like, what are you doing? You seem so happy, you seem so peaceful. And this was a few months before the docudrama had come out. So I was like, I work with, or I invest into coaching with Twin Flames Universe, and I do the mind alignment process. So I shared that with her. And yeah, so she checked it out. And then when the docudrama did drop, she immediately texted me. She was like, oh, what's going on with this? And the first thing I asked her, I was like, does it look like I'm in a cult? Do I you interact with me every week, right? We see each other in person. So I was like, does it seem like I'm in a cult? Does it seem like I'm brainwashed? And immediately her answer was no. So she was able to let that doubt go immediately, just because she knows me as a person, and she was able to see oh, this is not, I'm not a brainwashed cult person. I'm just a regular girl that's just living my life and desiring self-development. So yeah. That's funny that you shared that, because when the docus came out, I had a similar conversation with my mom, and she was concerned, and her right to be concerned, because they're scary looking, but there wasn't the scariness of it was all a facade, right? It was all this illusion perpetrated on us, and so I really got clear with her, and I said to her, I was like, do you think I'm in a cult? And she just she couldn't say yes. She was like, no, I don't. Her heart knew the truth, because she's only seen my life get better. Buying a home with my twin flame, coming to uni with my twin flame, living my best life. That's literally what I've been doing. She couldn't deny it. And so I felt really good to set those fears at ease with her. And thank you for sharing that as well. Yeah, so the next piece really here is, which they focused on a lot in the docudramas, was that it costs money to invest in Twin Flame Ascension School. It costs money to have a Twin Flame Ascension coach, or life purpose class, etc. And let's chat about that, because just kind of to preface this, no one talks about it when Tony Robbins charges thousands of dollars for a motivational speaking event or any of that stuff. And I'm sure there's so many countless others, right? Eckhart Tolle and all these leaders that are speaking and having these events. They don't talk about them charging for the coaches or for the events, but it's only kind of around Twin Flames Universe that we can't, profit off of supporting others. That's what we do, right? We support others, and that's our job. That's literally my day job, my life's job, is to, coach and support others. And so, this narrative really doesn't make sense in my mind, but that was really pushed in these videos. And so, I would love to hear everyone's perspective on that. And yeah, what are your thoughts on having paid for Twin Flame Ascension School, having paid for Life Purpose class, and what you have to say about them kind of making that into some part of this scheme we're running?
I kind of feel like it's very similar to as if you invest in getting a personal trainer or a dietitian to help you with your diet. It's kind of very similar, but in what works for us, like spiritually, like what works for us, like ascension coaching, helping us work through the mirror exercise and upsets and stuff like that. That's just our personal preference of moving through things, you know, and that's okay. That's how I see it.
Yeah, I can add, like, the way I see it is, like, I like to exercise, and you could choose to, just exercise for free at your house, or like go for walks or runs, if that's what you want to do, and not have to pay any money for that. And you can choose to pay money if you want a gym membership, where you get a little bit more features, like you have some cardio and some weight equipment. If it's raining or snowing, you have an indoor space to go to. You can pay for a more expensive gym where you might have a pool or pickleball courts or something else. You can also choose, like Destiny was saying, to pay for a personal trainer if you feel like you need that assistance to, for your exercise goals, or you want to maybe reach your goals faster, or you need more help in how to do that. You can, pay for a personal trainer once a month or once a week or every workout. And that's how I see it with ascension coaching is, if you want to, you don't actually have to pay for anything in Twin Flames universe. There's so much free content online, and like all the coaches release like free, videos like all the time. So there's a lot of free product. But depending on, for me, when I began on this journey, I needed a lot of assistance and a lot of help. So I needed help. I didn't know like how to do this. I didn't even know how to feel my feelings. So for me, coaching made a lot of sense. But there's no pressure. There was never any pressure from anybody to purchase anything, or to purchase coaching, or to do it even on a certain timeline. It's like completely up to you, to the person they need.
Thank you. Yeah. Feels very logical and grounded the way you explain that there. And when you say they don't have to purchase anything, you mean like Twin Flame Ascension School, or like Purpose class, or, coaching itself. Like there's nothing that's forced on anybody, right? No one has to purchase anything to be involved or to do this work. Mere exercise is free online, right? Your Twin Flame Universe has thousands of videos online, and like you were saying, thousands of free videos that coaches have made too. Does anyone else have anything else to share about maybe the investment, what it was like making the investment into TPAS or LPC, and like, was it worth it, I guess?
Yeah, I feel like it just really helped me take accountability and responsibility over my own feelings, and that I had the power to move through it, basically.
Yeah, and I actually enjoyed, I had like this feeling of joy every product that I would purchase. It would be like, okay, next level, next level of my ascension and my support. And I always received it, times 100 what I expected, times 1,000, 1,000,000. It was always so profound what I was receiving in each e-course, in each course. So yeah, more than worth it for me.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would also say like no one forced me to like buy the classes. I did it on my own free will because I desired like my Twin Flame Union. And like, Twin Flame Ascension School for me has been like the best investment I've ever made in my life. Like it completely transformed everything for me. So like I don't regret spending, it's just like a regular, it's not a foreign concept to pay coaches for their services. There's thousands, hundreds of coaches online that are spiritual coaches, that are life coaches that charge for their services. It's a regular thing. This happened before Twin Flames Universe. Twin Flames Universe didn't create charging for coaching. So I think it's like silly that idea. But yeah, Twin Flame Ascension School, Life Purpose class is definitely like the best investment I've ever made in my life. It changed everything for me. So
I remember right before I joined or invested into Twin Flame Ascension School and got involved in live classes was I had just completed a degree, and I was still like seeking something. I still felt like there was this component I was hadn't gotten yet. And the only thing I knew what to do is go back to school. So after having finished getting a doctorate, I'm like, well, I guess I have to just go back and learn more. There's something I just haven't gotten yet that I'm desiring. And I took one psych class, and I was like, no, this isn't it. And so I found Twin Flames Universe shortly after, and I was like, oh, this is it. This is what I'm looking for. I am looking for spiritual education. I'm looking for support on my spiritual journey. I'm looking for a component that's going to help me love myself more and address my emotional needs and address the spiritual life and what that means and what that is and break it apart for me in a way that I can understand it. And Twin Flame Ascension School and Life Purpose does that perfectly. And I agree, Manuela, it was one of the best, if not the best, like investment I've ever done. So like, I think there's very generous payment plans available for people. Like, it's just whatever you need that fits your journey, and you'll find that perfect fit for you in the courses and in the free material.
The price they use it is such a shocker in the docudramas. Feeling into that price, I feel, oh my God, like Ryan was saying, I got so above and beyond what I could have ever asked for, right? It did not, debilitate me at all to do that. It only strengthened, like, my financial freedom, right? Like, I'm financially free now and working on becoming financially free more and more every day. And so, yeah, that's just the last piece I have there. And yeah, off of that too, the next thing really is about the free labor allegations at TFU, right? Like, do we all just slave away all day for free and, get nothing out of it and, work for Jeff and Shalia? That's really what I feel the next piece is here that we can all speak to in some way, but I'd like to open the floor to see who would like to share a piece on that.
I've been a volunteer my entire life. So when I was a kid, I think the first time I volunteered was at church. I was an altar girl. After that, I volunteered in all kinds of different things. I was a volunteer for Relay for Life. I developed the very first team for my school that ended up eventually having Relay for Life at that school, right? Like, I volunteered at hospice. I volunteered by going into the military. Like, I volunteered in the military as a Little League coach. I volunteered to be a manager of a building. Volunteering is volunteering, and it's something that you do for selfless service that you feel good about, that supports you. I absolutely love volunteering in this organization because of what I receive in return for it. It's such an amazing opportunity to build relationships with people and feel that minded energy when you're doing something together that you both desire and a common goal to move something forward. It's an incredibly beautiful thing. And I really, even if I was offered money, I wouldn't take it because I love volunteering, right? And so I think that volunteering is a really healthy thing to do because it's something that you give back and it feels really good. And I understand if people don't like volunteering, and I understand if it's not for them. No one's forced to volunteer for the Church of Union. Everyone's offered the opportunity to volunteer for the church when and where they see fit. We just ask that if you take on a responsibility, that you follow through with that responsibility. That's all it's ever asked, and I've only ever experienced that in any volunteer role I've ever had, right? So it's no different than anywhere else.
Yeah, I agree with what Chrissy was saying. Like, volunteering has been amazing for me. Like, it's personally brought me a lot of purpose into my life to be able to volunteer with like-minded individuals, and we're all kind of focused on the same goal of self-love and becoming the best version of ourselves. So it feels really nice to have that community of people where we are committed to sharing that message with the world. So that has brought a lot of joy and purpose into my life, and it's not something that I've ever been convinced into or forced into. I decided to volunteer. I was like, oh, I want to volunteer too. That sounds fun, It's just something that it just it was my heart's desire to do that, and I did, and it's brought a lot of wonderful things into my life. Mostly a feeling of purpose, which a lot of people feel like they don't have in their life. So that that really brought that into my life.
Cool. So what do you do for the Church of Union as a volunteer?
I learned a lot about content creation, so that has been very valuable for my life, just learning how to content create and stuff, and it's helped me out in my own career as a content creator and artist. So yeah.
Yeah, it's funny off of that, Minnie. I literally, not gonna lie, I reached out to Shalia asking if I could work for them like once I started watching the free classes because I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to be involved so bad. This is everything I've been looking for. So yeah, it's a calling in your heart to volunteer. You know, it really is. And so yeah, like if you feel called, you can answer the call. If not, that's cool too. Yeah. So next question we have is on the stalking allegation and how does TFU encourage stalking? Is stalking something that TFU, encourages at the core? So let's see if we can answer that. And I'd love to hear what you guys have to say about people who say that TFU teaches to go after your twin flame at all costs, right? Is that true, or what is really going on here?
That's definitely not the case. You're obviously being told that, boundaries are essential, and, to feel your feelings if anything comes up where you feel like you need to do something like that, because that's obviously not part of the teachings. That's insane. And there's nobody promoting that here. So yeah, boundaries are important, and making choices that are loving is what's guided there.
Nice.
Yeah.
I can add something that what I have learned in this community is like you could be in a room all by yourself doing like your own healing work, and that will attract your twin flame. You don't ever I've never heard anyone be encouraged to stalk someone or go like bang on their door or anything like that. In fact, that's most likely not going to work in a twin flame relationship. Yeah, so I've never heard that.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember hearing like time and time again, that's not what you do. That will never work, right? That's not gonna help. It's only gonna make things worse, right? Because at the end of the day, doing that is seeking outside of yourself to feel better, and thinking your twin flame is gonna make you feel better when really only you can. It's really a not healthy behavior at all. That I've never seen encouraged here.
Yeah, I'll add to that. I noticed like in the Facebook open forum group, there's like 60,000 people in it. So if you were someone not familiar with his community and you just went on and looked, there are some people that will come in that aren't part of the teachings, like they haven't studied the teachings, and they may think that that's a thing because they've heard it in the docudramas. And so if you were making an impression or like an opinion on what the community is, you may be misled there thinking that that's what the rest of the community feels about it, but that's actually not what's taught.
I was on my twin flame journey. I knew about twin flames like 2 years before I even found Twin Flames Universe, and that was actually like an unhealthy. Like I would say like the twin flame journey without Twin Flames Universe is a pretty like it can be pretty unhealthy. Like just what everyone says about twin flames and stuff, like all the like nonsense. So I would say that is what is really unhealthy. And when I found Twin Flames Universe, I was actually led to learn how to have like a healthy twin flame journey versus it being kind of like, not healthy.
Yeah, I feel where that can get misconstrued, and especially throughout TFAS is, the encouragement to not give up on your twin flame journey. Like you don't give up, right? You follow through on it. And I know like that is a big piece of what was like twisted is this energy of like never give up on it. But it's not about never get up and go after it and knock on its door and hunt it down. It's no, like go within yourself, love yourself, and never give up on loving yourself, because it's always going to lead you to your union and to love at the end of the day. It's not like this control energy. So everyone's kind of shared their piece on how TFUs changed their lives and affected them. And, it has me kind of curious. So if TFU, Twin Flames Universe, helps people build better relationships with themselves, their twin flames, basically everyone in their lives, like everyone here is saying, why do you feel that people would reject this teaching or reject this community?
Maybe they're just not ready to, face their lives in that way, or they don't feel called to, is a better way to put that. Like, and that's okay. But yeah, to, go against the community in like a negative way doesn't make sense. But I could see why somebody didn't want to or wasn't ready to, because it's like you're choosing something so profound for yourself that you can't really like go backwards. You know what I mean? You're just gonna keep you're taking that step for the rest of your life to kind of commit to something that is eternal. And so, yeah, it's a really big choice. It's a big commitment, and it takes a lot of willpower to make that choice. So maybe somebody just wouldn't be ready to make that choice, and that's okay.
Yeah, I think there's people that want to change. There are also people that don't want to change, nor do they have to. It really comes down to the individual's choice on what they want to do and where they want to take their life, what they want to create in their life, the places they want to go. Somebody could be perfectly happy with what they have, and that's fine. This is a community, it's a movement for those that noticed problems in their lives and are looking for a solution. And I think it will always be that.
We practice self-love and we practice, self-empowerment. And I mean, a lot of people, they like that too. So I think it's just kind of like a misunderstanding in addition to what, Jason and Ryan shared here as well, like that piece of it. Yeah. We're pretty normal people and living pretty normal lives. Just, doing our thing. So, yeah.
I think there might have been a belief that you do it to a point and you're done, or you do it until this is like a choice to continue to improve yourself, like a continuous choice of improvement, a continuous choice of healing, and continuing to choosing to grow and expand. And if you stop doing the mirror exercise and your upsets pile up, then that has to come out in some way. I think that doing the mirror exercise or pretending you're doing the mirror exercise when you're not actually doing it could be pretty detrimental. Like, you know what I mean? And in an environment of people who are constantly healing. So it's just like attracts like. If your core value isn't healing and you don't choose to align into that, then you naturally wouldn't be around people who are doing that.
I feel like everybody's touched it, but I'll just say that I think healing in the way that we do can be extremely vulnerable, because you have to look at those places within yourself where it may be difficult to go sometimes. It may be difficult to really explore different areas of your consciousness or feelings of depression that maybe you've felt in your life. And you really have to be willing to go there and willing to go there consistently to do this work. And your life does get better and better and better. You reap the benefits of being willing to love yourself on such a vulnerable level. But if you're not ready to go there, that's okay. If you're not ready to look at that, that's okay. That's, it's where your comfort level is to follow this path or not. And yeah.
And I feel that like kind of just leads into, the overlying energy of those who have, rejected what we do here. I think I can speak for everyone, and I'll open up the floor too, but it's just compassion, right? It's unconditional, complete compassion to, like what anyone felt like they experienced, because it's been so far different than my own and what everyone shared here today. And from my belief, I do believe we create our own realities, and I can't have anything but compassion for someone that creates a reality that seemed as disturbing and it was upsetting as what was shown.
I agree. Like something I saw the other day, when we were talking, was it might have been an experience, but it's not the experience, right? I think everyone has their own experiences, but the core component here is whatever experience you're having, you have the power to heal it. Yeah. You have the power to move through it. You have the power to change your reality based on what you heal. And as long as you're continuing to do that, I think it'll be very peaceful to be in the community, and it'll support you in your choices and your goals in life.
Yeah. The goal here is for us all to find our truth, right? And so that's why our community is able to expand and grow and become more. And we are as well, because peace is the answer here. Peace is the search here. And it's within. And when you find that peace within, you can move forward. And that's a lifetime of, a lifetime process. And yeah, that's it.
Beautiful. Yeah. So how do you guys see TFU evolving in the future? Where do you think we're going moving forward?
I feel like, as you can tell, we're all very like motivated and driven with purpose to like share love to the entire world. So I would say it's a global community. So just continuing to share the teachings with everyone. And yeah, as you can tell, we have like a very like fire in our heart to share love with everyone. That's like our dream. We all believe in true love. We believe that true love is for everyone. And that's just where, it's where I see it going. True love for everyone.
From my experience, like with Twin Flames Universe and its growth, it has grown rapidly over the years, very quickly. And I think with that quick growth, sometimes there are differing of opinions along the way that happen, which I think is pretty natural in a company's growth. I just see continued expansion and growth as we move forward. There is an incredible student body that's very dedicated and passionate about growing unionism and supporting others in the teachings of union and really helping people on the twin flame journey who are interested in their twin flame and desiring that to find a place that can support them in that manifestation. So I think like we have, all I see is continued growth, really. I do. Like, I think that this cancel culture experience that we've had has only brought us stronger together, has only supported us in growth and expansion, and I believe it will continue to do so until we are completely through it. And it's just a process of healing, addressing what comes up for us, and then moving forward and sharing our peace. And I think we'll do that for a long time.
Anyone in this room is looking for something different, like they're in a particular pattern in their life, maybe several patterns that they don't really like, and they want something different, they want something better. And when people go searching for what will help them, I think that they find what they're looking for, and like the world will find what it's looking for if this is what they're looking for, right? Like it's there for them, and there's plenty of coaches to support people, and in that regard, like the growth will just be like a very natural, organic thing.
Really nice. I think we all have a really solid vision for the future and moving towards it. It's only going to get better and better. And I think we just all experienced such beautiful energy at this Spiritual Life Summit this past June, which was just a taste, I feel, of what's to come for everyone and like what we're creating here. And, for those who weren't there, it was truly an experience of heaven on earth. And it was so wonderful. And like in every single way, it felt like we're all home, right? In this energy of, like union with God and union with love. And so, that really brings me to the question of like, for those watching right now, what do we have to say to them who may be skeptical or curious about the teachings, or like I said, still skeptical about TFU from what they may have seen in the media? And of course we could say there's cancel culture and all of that, but what do we have to say to them? What do we truly from our hearts have to say?
Well, just, try this workout for yourself, release the expectation of it being incredible or the expectation of it being bad. Just face it with logic and, a clear mind, and you'll find that it's very transformative.
We were talking about our stories earlier, and I remember like my transformative moment. One of them along my journey was with MAP, and MAP wasn't a docudrama. There was a whole component of it. I was never asked to be in an interview. It was just quite honestly quite violating for me to move through, and so I really appreciate what we're doing here today so we can share both sides of the story. But I was somebody who I was going through a really difficult time, and I think there's a lot of people out there going through really difficult times. I had a lot of trauma I was moving through that got triggered at work, And I did go to the hospital. I did go to the therapist. I did call all of the lines available to veterans for that support. And I just wasn't receiving what I needed. And I remember driving home and being really scared and crying. And I was in a foreign country and I just felt very alone. And, you know, Jeff said, "Hey, I can help you." And he's like, "Are you willing to receive my help?" And I said, "Yes." Like, I absolutely. Like, I've called all the people. I've gone to the doctors. And I'm still having a problem here. And I need help. And, you know, we got on a call, and 2.5 hours later, MAP was born. And I have been supporting people and healing their trauma since. Like, no one is being hurt. Everyone is receiving everything they need to come into a place of peace. It's very gentle. It's very easy. It's very quick. Many of you in here have had that experience. And, you know, I will forever be grateful and blessed to live trauma-free and live a life of peace. And I think that if you're somebody who's struggling and you're moving through a lot and you're trying all the different things and you're not finding the help that you need, like, this might be it. Try it on, see if it fits. If it's not a good fit for you, that's 100% okay. Keep trying, keep finding what's gonna help you. And I think that for me, this was it, and I will help anyone that comes to the door and genuinely desires to receive it. And I hope one day that, like, as we were talking about expansion and growth, that we have MAP facilities worldwide to support people in coming in and becoming trauma-free and receiving that peace, because I think everyone deserves a life of peace. And I'm very, very passionate about that personally. And so that's what I would say to those that are listening. If you're interested, like Ryan says, go try it on and see for yourself.
Thank you for sharing. It's a very vulnerable and inspiring story. And, you know, I know some of your story, and I always found that, yeah, it is a very inspiration. And every time I hear someone's healed such a core piece of, you know, their consciousness, like core wound, including myself, with MAP. Yeah, it's just, like you said, opened my eyes to what is possible for everyone, right? And then I do as well encourage everyone to give it a try, see how it fits for you. And Krista, I feel like you also opened up another piece as well when you mentioned that it was a violating experience to have, you know, no chance to speak your piece and all of that. And yeah, I feel like I'd love to hear, you know, more about what it felt like to have that happen with the docudramas and not really have the opportunity to, you know, share our truth until now, right? It's been almost a year, but yeah, we went through a lot. We had to process a lot. And yeah, like, that wasn't easy for anybody.
Yeah, no, I don't think it was easy for the student body or Jeff and Shalia, frankly, to have been misrepresented in such a dramatic way. You know, we did take a step back. We did take time to heal. We did take time to contemplate and do, like, a lot of deep inner healing in regards to what was presented. I think that's pretty natural and something that anyone should do when things of this nature come up. I also think it's important to, when available and you do have an open door to communicate what's going on, to have those conversations, but that open door needs to be there. And I think that it's really important that our media provide that open door so that the entire situation can be shown, not just a piece of it.